I'm Matt Smeltzer from Bethlehem Family Ministries. For about 20 years, I've been working with the homeless population. I work with the Open Door Mission. I've done outreach in the city of Rochester with St. Joe's and House of Mercy, and just all of the homeless providers. And a reoccurring problem that we've seen over and over again was that when a family is facing homelessness, it is very difficult to place. There's men's shelters and women and children's shelters, but when there's a whole family facing homelessness, it was very, very difficult. And if you put it in perspective of like if there's a fire and Red Cross places someone, usually it's for 3 to 5 days at a hotel, but then the family has to find their own placement, and it's very difficult. And very often, one of the best solutions that shelter providers could suggest was, well, if you separate for a little while, then we can help you. If the woman stays over at the women's shelter and the man stays at the man's shelter, then we can help you. And you could just hear the heartbreak from families. And back in 2019, I call it a holy download. I felt like the Lord just gave me just a vision for Bethlehem Family Ministries. And even the name started coming to play when Mary and Joseph were coming to Bethlehem and not knowing where they were going to stay, and it just felt so right that it's needed to have a home, emergency home for families. Even just saying yes, Lord, I felt His anointing just from the very beginning. So one of my favorite examples of that is back in 2020, a motel owner gave me 6 units just to house families in the motel units. Shortly after that, I saw a home in the city of Rochester that I wanted to go and see, but being a seller's market, there was already 20 families there checking it out, and we just knew that the chances weren't too good for me to get it. Later on, my realtor called me and said, I purchased it so Bethlehem can use it. So Bethlehem has a home in the city. I've had families staying there with great success. Recently, the neighbor called me and said, whatever you're doing there, it is fantastic. That these neighbors, I never even know that they're there. It's just so quiet, and it's so wonderful having them there. And it's just a pleasure. And so I asked him even to put that in writing because I just wanted to share that with others. The family I have in right now, Dad just got a full-time job. Mom is pregnant. They have 3 kids. What's great about this too is because it's not just a typical dorm setting like you would see. It's one family at a time. Kids can have a sense of normality where they can stay in school, focus on just healing from whatever trauma that they've been involved in. So they haven't really missed a beat as far as their normal activities because have a safe environment to stay in. Bethlehem Family Ministry is a Christ-centered emergency shelter for families facing homelessness. I like to say that it's not for the chronic homeless. Like a lot of times people paint the picture with a broad brush and they feel that it's maybe it's a person with high drug addictions or chronic homeless under a bridge, things like that. That's definitely a need out there to help those families and those individuals. This wouldn't be for that. This is for a family that is more independent, that they can provide their own meals, but they just need support. They need a place to be. Sometimes I even try to stay away from even calling it a shelter. It's more of a ministry home, just helping the families have a safe place to be in a Christ-centered environment with a structure that builds them towards success. When the Lord gave me the idea for Bethlehem, I really felt it was a clear calling to just stay focused on doing it simple. So I say one of the values I hold on to is better versus bigger, right? So I just want to provide healthy shelter, a very safe shelter. So I try not to spin plates that I don't have to spin. What I do is I connect the families to resources that are already available. So case management services, food pantry services, employment services, whatever it may be, I'll connect them to other pillars. But Bethlehem will provide a very safe place where they can just have a Christ-centered environment so they can move on to the next step. So every family moving in, they know that this is a ministry. So they know that there will be Bible studies, curriculum as far as that would be available if there's, school, Sunday school resources, things like that. It'll always be a vehicle pointing people to Jesus Christ. We don't force it upon anyone, but we let them know that is what the ministry is about.